Hey everybody, welcome to Grimsforge Gaming. Today we're going to be covering my bow stamina sorcerer, Dreadcaller, and sometimes I run this guy two-hander and bow, but I've been having a lot of fun with Flames of Ambition, just running this as bow. And so let's jump into the build. If you've seen this, I've been running this in Battlegrounds and on some live streams, and I will link those in the description so you can check out the build live. But it's very fast, and it's very controlling, and it's very bursty. So let's jump in. Now, first thing is, this is a front bar, back bar setup, and for those of you that don't know what that means, it means that I have a full 5-piece setup, a full 5-piece on my back bar, and then when we go to our front bar, we break up that back bar 5-piece and we have a different 5-piece on the front bar. Now, if you run a front bar back bar setup currently, you can also squeeze in a mythic item and a full monster set, and so let's look at how that works. Also, another thing, this build right now, whilst extremely effective in Battlegrounds, I've been having a lot of fun with it. It might very well be my main for right now. Is not optimized whatsoever. Okay, I have not changed the traits around on everything to what they should be or what I would hope them to be. We're just simply running with whatever we got. So first things first, we are running Ring of the Wild Hunt. If you're gonna try and run a bow anything outside of being a Nightblade that has shadowy disguise, you're gonna want to use some form of speed. You're gonna need Ring of the Wild Hunt. You gotta be faster than everybody else. You have to be able to outmaneuver and stay off the tracks and keep those really good vantage points to be a good bowman. And so Ring of the Wild Hunt, you can see we have it with the Swift trait for that extra 7% movement speed. And so when you read the one piece there, increase your movement speed by 15% while in combat, and increase your movement speed by 45% while out of combat. And so if you were to add the 7% up there top, we're moving at 22% additional movement speed while in combat and 52% additional movement speed out of combat. So this allows us, while we're fighting people, to be faster than them, and it also allows us out of combat to get to the next fight very quickly. If you wanted to make this infused, you could and get an extra 100 weapon damage or so, no problem. On our back bar, this is how we move around. Well, let's look at this. The monster set that we're running is going to be the Balor's monster set. You can see here I've got it in the awesome trait of training, and if I had my choice, I'd probably go with well fitted or impen, or you could go with reinforced even. So, but the Balor's monster set is pretty nice. It fits this build perfectly. This build features over 22,000 penetration. And as an example, I would be full pinning against myself, which means I would basically, even on my back defending bar, I would have no armor versus this build, you know, if I were attacking myself. So the Balor's monster set is really nice. If you were to save up 500 ultimate, and you read the bottom there, adds 129 weapon or spell damage for the one piece. The two piece, when you use an ultimate ability, you gain weapon and spell damage equal to the amount total of ultimate consumed, and physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount for 12 seconds. So if you take 23 times 500, you're going to come up with 11,500 penetration. You're going to get some extra weapon damage from this too. Let's do the math here real quick on that and see what that comes to. Just yeah, well, that's just going to be 500. Pretty simple. But the pin is 1150. So anyways, you can see we do have well fitted on the shoulder piece, and then we have training on that, and we would probably change that to well fitted as well. So there's our mythic, and there's our monster set. Now let's talk about what we have on the back bar. This is going to be defending, and we're running sheer venom. And you can see the 2 pieces max stam, the 3 pieces weapon damage, 4 pieces weapon damage, and then the 5 piece when you deal damage with an execute ability, you infect the enemy, dealing 7,000 poison damage over 6 seconds and dealing up to 100% more damage to enemies under 100% health. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds per target. Per target is very important, because if there's a group of people in front of me, I can tag every single person in the group with this, and it's going to start applying immense dot pressure to them. Okay, also you can see where it says dealing 7,000 poison damage over 6 seconds and dealing up to 100% more damage to enemies under 100% health. So if you tag them with a light attack before you hit them with the poison injection, they're now under 100% health, and you're going to get that 100% additional damage. So it's pretty nice. And also on our back bar, we're our execute that we're triggering sheer venom with his poison injection. And so poison injection unbuffed has upfront 4,500 poison damage and then another 9k damage over 10 seconds, so deals up to 100% more damage to enemies under 50% health. And so that's where the execute part comes into play, but it's still considered an execute ability regardless of what their current health is. It just so happens that the execute portion of this ability triggers at under the 50% health. Pretty cool. And so we'll just dot a bunch of people up with light attack poison injection, light attack poison injection, and seems to be working very well. Then when we switch over to our front bar, we are running Spriggans. Spriggans is going to give us 2-piece max stam, 3-piece max stam, 4-piece is weapon damage, and then the 5-piece is 3,419 physical penetration. And so that works out really well for us, that additional pen. And another thing too, I do have some pen in my CP, but for BG purposes you'll be at the 22,000 penetration. We're going to be 24,000 pen in CP scenarios on this build. So if you were going to go to CP Imperial City, that's pretty nice. Now, another strange thing about the build, we were able to fit a full sheer venom on the back bar, a full Spriggan on the front bar, plus a mythic, plus a monster set, and then we had 1 extra slot available. And so we just went with Armor of the Trainee. You can see that's in training, and I'd like to change that to reinforced if I could, but don't have the transmute crystals, so here we are with that. But we're just running a 1-piece trainee, so that way we can hit the extra health from the one piece bonus. Like I said, here we're running Swift. If you wanted to run Infused, you get an extra 100 weapon damage there. This is robust still. If you wanted to run Infused, you could get another 100 weapon damage there, and this one is infused, so you could probably squeeze out another 200 weapon damage right here with those, and that would take us to the 6k weapon damage mark. Right now, when we're fully buffed up, we are at 5,873 weapon damage on a bow build that features 22,000 plus pen. It really hits hard, so it works out really well. So that is the armor sets. Let me just hover over everything real quickly just so you can see what is placed where if you're going to try and recreate this build. It's a bow front bar back bar setup with Stamsorc. So we got Balors well fitted, Balors training, I'd go well fitted there, or reinforced. We've got the Armor of the Trainee on the chest, I'd go reinforced on that. Then we've got sheer venom, impen, sheer venom, impen, Spriggans reinforced, Spriggans reinforced, and you can see that we do have the prismatic enchants on everything. I would definitely do that. As a stam sorcerer, you need both magicka and stamina. For us, if we start running out of resources, we can pull on one to feed the other, so that seems to work out really well. We're running defending on our back bow for sheer venom. You don't need to run sharpened, you don't need to run Nirnhoned or anything like that. Just make it defending so you're a little bit more beefy on your back bar, and then I would definitely put the weapon damage enchant on your back bar. It'll have a really good uptime on it, And the fact of the matter is, it's how we initiate on targets. It's a light attack into a poison injection, remember? And so that light attack's going to trigger that weapon damage enchant for that extra stuff. And then because we initiated with a light attack, they're now under 100% health. And so Sheer Venom's dot will now do more damage. Also, they'll be hitting them with a poison injection, so that dot will be doing more. And if they happen to be below 50% health, this one's going to do 100% more damage than that tooltip, which is unbuffed. So, and then on the front bar, we're running a sharpened Spriggan's bow. I wouldn't run Nernhoned, I'd run sharpened. Sharpened feels a lot better on bow builds currently. And so that's everything we got right now. See 2 sheer venom here, and then 1 jewelry piece. And then the bow on the back bar gives us our 5. Then we got the bow on the front bar, 1 jewelry piece, and 2 armor pieces. And then that gives us this extra free slot to figure out what you want to do there, and still fit your monster piece in, and still do this. Now, you could change this up a little bit. You can see while I'm on my back bar, I'm missing that 4-piece weapon damage from Spriggan. If you wanted to make that a Spriggan's chest, you could, which would change it from a heavy to a medium, and you would get, instead of the extra health, you would get an extra 127 weapon damage. So if you took that 127 weapon damage and added it to the extra weapon damage when you infuse, if you decide to infuse both these, there's another 300 weapon damage. But this thing's been, like I said, not optimized, but it's been working out really well. I feel very, very dangerous on it. Let's look at the abilities here. Actually, let's buff up here real quick, and then we'll... Okay. All right. So first thing is we're running focused aim, and you can see focused aim has an 11,000 tooltip, very low cost, and then down at the bottom also inflicts minor breach on an enemy, reducing their physical and spell resistance by almost 3,000 for 10 seconds. That's important to know. Crystal weapon has almost a 10,000, almost 11,000 tooltip on it, and it reduces the target's armor by 1,000. That's important to know. After casting, your next non-ultimate ability used within 3 seconds costs 10% less. And so this is it's got some armor shred on it, it's got some pop on it, it's very low cost, and it allows us, gives us a little cost reduction as well. So I really like that. This build, on just my front bar, I have 2 major forms of crowd controls, 2 major forms of CC. So I have an immobilization or a route through Bombard, and Bombard will have a, we'll say it's got 6,700 tooltip. That might hit 7k. We'll have to look at it when it's buffed up, but that's not too bad for considering the fact that it's a conal effect in front of you and hits a ton of people. And then enemies afflicted are immobilized and have their movement speed reduced by 40% for 4 seconds. The thing about this is that that part right there, for whatever reason, you can just spam this over and over again and maintain that slow on them. They'll have to cleanse it. Now they're moving at full speed. You just hit them again, and now they've got it again. And so Bombard, as far as that slow goes, is extremely annoying. And then every, what is it, 4 seconds? Every 4 seconds, the immobilization will take hold on a group. And so that's pretty nice. And then we're running Streak. Streak is going to be my hard CC, and then the damage on it isn't too bad either. You can see it's almost 5,500 damage, and this is going to be a hard CC or a stun. And I will streak through people, and they'll break free from it. Then I'll turn around and hit them with a Bombard, and now they're immobilized, and they have to break free of that. And I'm already controlling the fight from a resource standpoint. Meanwhile, I can be putting damage into them. We have bound armaments on our front bar, and this thing is actually extremely underrated as far as the value that it brings to this particular build. I wouldn't want to plug something else in. Don't run Camo Hunter, don't run anything else. Run bound armaments, and here's why. You can see that when you trigger this, your light and heavy attacks will summon a bound weapon. It's basically a little dagger that floats by your head. And you can get 4 of them, I think. Yeah, up to 4 times, okay? You can reactivate the ability for half the cost to arm the weapons, causing them to strike a target for 4,000 unbuffed 4,100 physical damage every 0.3 seconds. Okay, while slotted, your max stamina is increased by 8% and your light attacks deal 10% more damage. Okay, well that's great. 8% more max stam just for having it slotted. Perfect. And my light attacks deal 1% or 10% more damage. Great. I'm a bow build. I'm hitting people with light attack from range often, and so this just works out really well. Also, because of some passives, you can see here, Daedric Protection, increase the health and stamina recovery by 20% while you have a Daedric Summoning ability slotted. This is a Daedric Summoning ability, so my health and stamina recovery is increased by 20% just for having this on my bar. That's freaking huge. That's huge. And then increase your max health by 8% while you have a Daedric Summoning pet active. This is considered a Daedric Summoning pet when you have the daggers out. And just to prove that, we will hit that bar. And now watch my health. It's at 30,000.8. And every time I hit with a light attack and another little dagger shows up, see how my health is going up? Now my health is up. I'm at 33,000 health. Now if I were to trigger those and get rid of them, my health is going to end up dropping down. Okay, so I get a little extra health just running around with these little daggers flying over my head, and the damage on them is respectable too. Did we even see what that damage was? Let's find out what that damage is. Look at that. Okay, damage is pretty respectable. Actually, I did a first-person BG on this build, and if you haven't seen that, it'll be linked in the descriptions. It was pretty darn funny, but I killed someone with that ability, and which I'd never done before, so it was pretty darn funny. But I had not been trying to kill people with that ability, and so maybe I should have. So, anyways. Definitely run bound armaments on this, on your front bar, where you're going to be doing most of your damage. And then let's look at the tooltip. We are running Toxic Barrage, and it's got a 77,000 tooltip with a 40,000 dot on it. The thing about this is, if it's basically going to do a barrage of arrows, okay? And somebody might get hit by the first one or the second one, then they realize, oh crap, somebody's toxic barraging me or bow ulting me, and they start dodge rolling around to avoid all of that 77,000 damage. If only one of those arrows hit from the barrage, they land, but the rest is ignored, you'll still get the 40,000 tooltip dot damage after the fact, if only one of those. So they need to cleanse also. If they don't cleanse, you're still applying pressure to them, and that's great. You can move at full speed and are immune to all disabling effects while channeling this attack, and so that's important to know. Now it says you're immune to that, but I've been dragon leaped before and it stunned me and stopped my cast on this, so that's a lie. Anyways, Toxic Barrage does a lot of damage. You run into a werewolf, also put this on them because it is poison damage and it'll absolutely shred them. Oh, let's see. Okay, so back bar. Poison injection, we talked about why we're doing that, plus the sheer venom dot on it. Both are poison damage, and so we are a werewolf's worst nightmare, and we're very quick, and we do a metric ton of poison damage, and we have a ton of pen, so I don't mind running into werewolves whatsoever on this, and we'll absolutely control werewolves. And if you've played a werewolf before too, you usually operate at or under 50% health, stamina, sorry, at or under 50% stamina most of the time, depending on the build. And so we can stam check werewolves pretty easily, between forcing them to try and keep up with us and keeping our streak on them, keeping our bombard on them, slowed, rooted, and then doing just a metric ton of poison damage and shredding their armor. So this thing really hurts them. Crit Surge. Crit Surge is nice. It gives us our access to Major Brutality for an extra 20% weapon damage, and while active, dealing critical damage, heals you for 3,400 health. This can occur once every second, and so we get this very often. And then we're running Dark Deal. Dark Deal is going to be a nice heal for us. It's going to be some stamina back in the tank. It pulls from our Magicka pool, puts it into our stamina pool. And then we do get 2400 stamina over 20 seconds. And so these are basically our two heals. We've got Vigor and we've got Dark Deal, and that's how we're going to heal through this. We'll hit this as our hot, and then we'll start channeling some Dark Deals and line of sight if we have to. And we're very fast, so line of sighting's not really a problem. And sometimes we could just control somebody, streak through them, turn around and bombard on them, and then just Dark Deal right in front of them. They don't have the stamina to even get to us. We are running Hurricane, and Hurricane's going to be our form of Major Resolve, and it's our armor buff. And then you can see at the very bottom your movement speed is increased by 15%, and so that's Minor Expedition. They raised Minor Expedition from 10% movement speed to 15% movement speed. And so between Hurricane and our Ring of the Wild Hunt, we've just got an immense amount of movement speed. Plus we're running bow on both bars. We can dodge roll, and when we dodge roll we get access to Major Expedition. So we have Major and Minor Expedition on this, plus Ring of the Wild Hunt, plus Streak, and we can slow whoever's following us. And so I've been having a lot of fun with this build. Now, back bar ultimate is kind of a flex for you if you want to. So I'm running Swarming Scion right now. If I'm getting bullied or getting pressured and I can't get away from, say I can't peel away from a werewolf and I have to stand and fight them, you know, this ultimate might be the way to go. It really kind of depends, honestly. I don't think there's very few times that I wouldn't be able to peel from a werewolf. Maybe that's a bad example. Let's say a Zerg drops on my head and I can't get away from them. I'm out of Magicka, so I can't streak, and I can dodge roll around. To tank it out, I might want to go into Swarming Scion. That's a better scenario. And so to tank it out, we'll go into Swarming Scion, and then we'll just start putting damage into people. We'll make sure we keep our heal up, and we'll try and start getting people out of there. As soon as we get some Magicka back in the tank, we're going to streak, dodge roll, and be gone. But if you didn't want to run Swarming Scion on your back bar, you could run actually Storm the Charged Atronach. Charged Atronach is pretty nice. It summons an immobile Storm Atronach at the target location and arrives and deals 8400 shock damage and stuns enemies for 3 seconds. The Atronach zaps the closest enemy, dealing 4500 direct damage. So it's going to select a single target, the closest one, and just start zapping them for damage. That's great, aside from the direct damage that it does on impact. And then periodically deals 8400 shock damage to enemies around it. So it's got a huge AoE explosion. Also, an ally near the Atronach can activate the charged lightning synergy, granting the ally and the Atronach Major Berserk, increasing their damage done by 10%. It's important. You want your allies to hit the synergy, not just for their own benefit, but it buffs up the Atronach as well, so it will do 10% more damage. And a nice thing about dropping this on your back bar is you now have a line of sight on demand wherever you want. And so this is 267 ultimate. This is 176 ultimate. So basically what I'm saying is you drop this on your bar, you drop this anywhere you want, and then you can stand inside of it. And outside of AoE damage, if they're trying to do direct damage to you, they're probably going to target this, or just stand just slightly back behind it. Use it as a line of sight, and if they're trying to do any direct damage to you, or ranged attacks, it's a sorcerer or something like that, it's very hard to target you with this thing there. And the duration's 21 seconds. Like, it's going to be there for a while. Meanwhile, this does not cause a line of sight issue for you. You can shoot your arrows right through it, tab target somebody, and just go ham. And so this is a really cool play. You can also do really cool things with this at choke points or on flags if you're trying to capture the flag, or if you're trying to defend your relic, things like that. So this would be the play for sure. Now, what I find myself doing is I don't want to save up for that ultimate. I'd rather just get people out. You know, at 154 ultimate, I'm going to eliminate them fairly quickly. We're going to control the fight. We're going to take them out. And as soon as I have ultimate, we'll bow ultimate and get them gone. All right. So this is a 2 heavy, and then the rest are medium. So we're 2 heavy, 5 medium right now. And so we make sure you get all your medium armor passives and your heavy armor passives. Okay, you're gonna need all those. And then the surprise is we are an orc, so some people might ask what this skin is. We're gonna look at it real quick. It's actually a polymorph. Let's go to collections, let's go to appearance, let's go to polymorph, and it's called the Draugr. And you can see this dude has that helm on. A long time ago when I first got this, I went into helm, or into the hat, and I clicked hide your helmet, and his helmet disappeared, and I was like, ooh, I like that. He doesn't have a helmet. And now you can no longer do that, is my understanding. I cannot get his helmet to disappear if I put that person, or if I put that polymorph on any other people, and I can't hide the helm. Maybe you guys can, I don't know. But anyways, I'm just gonna leave this guy Dreadcaller without the helm because I love it. And it's very theme based too. He's a zombie. And I actually did a battleground, it'll be in the descriptions, to Michael Jackson Thriller. And so for you older fans out there, you'll like that battleground though. Michael Jackson Thriller. Anyways, that's the abilities. We looked at the tooltips buffed up. We talked about the how and the why we control people and how we kill people, and then what's on the back bar, and then some changes that you could make. I wouldn't change any of this, only this. Situational. I would not change any of this at all. This thing is working really, really well. Let's look at the CP and we are done. Okay, so first we're going to talk about our slottables. I always go over to the Steed's Blessing to get that extra 20% movement speed, and I start working my way up the line here, and we have Treasure Hunter, increase the quality of items you find in treasure chests. This seems to be working really well. I find a lot of really cool stuff in treasure chests, so we went with that. Gifted Rider, increase the mount speed, your mount speed by another 10%, and then War Mount improves your mastery with mounts, removing all stamina cost outside of combat. Now, something for you to consider if you're going to run this build. I am so darn fast on foot with a dodge roll. I'm moving at movement speed cap. I could probably run, I can run faster or travel faster than somebody on a fully upgraded mount. I probably don't need these. I probably could go with something else. Just food for thought. And I might look into that. Maybe, actually, talking about food, I might run with Rationer and increase the duration of my food. So, but those are very important. Right now, Steadfast Enchantment, this is just a passive, and you can see that your weapon enchants decay 20% slower per stage. 100%. 100% reduced decay rate. Okay, so I don't need to recharge my weapon enchants at all. And reduced fall damage. This is great considering how fast I move. I will occasionally derp and dodge roll and run right off a huge cliff or a mountain, or I'll streak where I shouldn't have streaked. And anyways, this is paying dividends. So you do have a couple flex spots on the green tree, but definitely always run this, and this thing is awesome. So okay, here's where it gets tricky. This is how I have it set up, and let's explain. Untamed Aggression, I have an extra 150 weapon damage there. Wrathful Strikes, I have another 165 weapon damage there. When you deal direct damage from reaving blows, you heal for 7% of the direct damage. Almost everything we do on our front bar is direct damage. Now our sheer venom and our poison injection are damage over times, and they won't be affected by this. Our bow ult is the 77,000 upfront damage is considered direct damage, and then the dot damage is the 40,000 after the fact. So you will get an immense amount of healing while you're channeling that. And I've got 1400 offensive penetration here, and you can see increase the chance to apply martial status effects by 60%. This is important because we're running poison status effect, and then another 100 weapon damage here. I'm running deadly aim, increase your damage done with single target attacks by 2%. So we got our direct damage is increased by 10%. And if you wanted to buff all the dot damage, so your sheer venom, your poison injection, and then the 40k dot damage on your bow ult, you could put points into Thaumaturge. However, I think this is more valuable. But if you wanted to test that, you could. You'd be losing some heals. I think this is important because Vigor is our only main heal, and then we've got Dark Bargain or Dark Deal. But it's a channeled effect, and you can be interrupted while you're using it, so that you can't just freely use that all the time. And so that makes Vigor your only reliable heal, and then the other one's situational. So this provides you with some additional healing coming in just by being offensive. You're rewarded for being offensive. I love that. Okay. You can see we've got 10 points into precision, and that was just to open up this top tree here, and we showed you that. This is a passive. I've got an extra 1040 stamina and an extra 1040 magicka. Both those are very important because we pull on our magicka pool to fill our stamina pool, and works out really well. I'm currently filling this quick recovery, and we will probably come over and increase both of these at some point. Maybe add more crit damage, I don't know, as we get more CP. This whole tree, as far as these top ones, will get more magical resistance, more martial resistance, and more crit. We probably won't get this because this one's a slottable actually, so we'll just get those two and this one in the middle for more healing. And then this one down here reduces your damage taken from non-player attacks. If you're running Imperial Sewers or the city and there's a lot of NPCs or the guards, this might be beneficial for that in Cyrodiil, fighting guards. Who knows? And then I've got 40 points over here in Blessed for an extra 4% healing received. You start down here, and I just fill this up so you can see that my dodge roll is reduced by 360 stamina and reduce the duration of elemental status effects on you by 25%. This is important. It's a passive, but it's important because we don't have a cleanse on our toolkit, so this is very important. But let's look at our slottables. First thing, rejuvenation, increase our health, magic, and stamina recovery by 150. Next thing is, while afflicted with a status effect, your core combat skills are reduced by 25%. Our core combat skills are block, dodge, rolling, and breaking free. And because we do not have a cleanse on us, we're probably going to be afflicted with a status effect. Right now, we did reduce those status effects by 25%, but there's a high likelihood we're going to have a status effect on us, and that means our dodge roll is going to be cost is going to be reduced by 25%. So that works out really well considering we're a bow build and we want access to that major expedition. So anyways, there that is. And I'm running siphoning spells, restores 300 magicka per stage whenever you kill an enemy. So when I kill somebody, I get 1500 magicka back, and when I kill somebody, I get 1500 stamina back. And because we said that I basically pull for my magicka field to fill my stamina field, this works out really well. And in those moments where we're really low on max resources, I can control somebody in a fight with Bombard and Streak, stam check them, kill them, and get enough, and get 1500 magicka and 1500 stamina back. Turn around, take that magicka, and turn it into more stamina if I need to. So it's been working out really well. If you didn't want to run survival instincts and lower your dodge roll cost by 25%, I would come over here to strategic reserve, and with this filled with 50 points into this, it basically equates to 1500 health recovery, and so that would go really far too, and I might actually play around with that. We'll see. And then as far as passives go, we have our break free cost reduced by 440, and we talked about this. Dodge roll decreased by 360. Mystic tenacity, you can see reduce the duration of elemental status effects by 25%. We do have 40 points into Hero's Vigor for an extra 1,120 health, and you can see that increased our movement speed when sprinting by 8%. This is nice. And then reduce the cost of sprint by 80, and then we're currently putting points into Tireless Guardian, reducing the cost of block. Now, I very rarely, if ever, block on this, but as far as passives go, that was the next logical passive route to go. I guess I could have put increase my stealth detection, you know, and then come up here into that, but right now that's where we're at. So that is the CP, everyone. Check out, just hit the show more button in the below the video here, and you'll be able to watch the battlegrounds of this. It's extremely dangerous. It can stand check players very easily. It's super fast and very fun right now. Let's look at the stats here real quick, because I don't think we did that. You can see stamina recovery is going to be at 1400. Our health recovery is just under 1000. Magic recovery. And on our offensive bar, we've got 19,000 spell resistance and 19,000 physical resistances, and then our physical penetrations at 8k. But we have all those other modifiers that you don't see. I think when we pop a potion, it goes up even more. 1,700, 1,200, 900 recoveries. This is perfect. This feels really nice. 30,000 max health, 30,000 max stam, 15,000 max mag. 21% crit rate, and then like I said, our weapon damage will get up to 5,873. I think I can show you that just by hitting this with a light attack. There it is, 5,873 weapon damage. So, and then you saw that our health will go up as high as 33,000 whenever we have those little daggers summoned, Daedric pet summoned. And so our health will get up to 33,000, and so our max health feels really nice. Our burst damage, our pen, our mobility, I really like this build. This is my main right now, I'd have to say, just because of how much fun I'm having on it. So that's it, everybody. One other thing, I don't think I showed you the Mundus or the food, and if you're still here, you get to see that. We are an orc, and I am running the Warrior Mundus for extra weapon damage. You could run the Lover for more pen, and I'm a stage 1 vampire. I wouldn't go any higher on the vampire skill. I wouldn't be any higher than that. You don't need to be. And we are using Artaeum Takeaway Broth, which is the expensive food. You could run Bewitched Sugar Skull and lose some recovery. However, I feel like Artaeum Takeaway Broth is the sweet spot as far as stamina recovery, max stam, max health, and health recovery. This thing feels really good. So this is fun. And on our back bar, see on our back bar, 22,000, almost 23,000 resistances. This seems to be enough to allow counterplay for us. It's not that we can't get bursted down by 2 Nightblades coming out of stealth, but almost everybody right now can get bursted down by that, and so that's not really my concern. I just want to make sure that if I can see the threat coming, that they're not going to be able to burst me down. And so 23k seems to be getting the job done, as long as I partner it with extreme speed. You know, we're very fast on this and very controlling between our hard CC, soft CCs, and speed. So that's it, everybody. Be safe out there. Thanks.